Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class. Our textbook is Weekend 2 and today inshallah we will cover Unit 2, My Things Phonics on page 16. This lesson will be presented by me teacher Mazar Harbi and the sign language by Mr. Saleh Al-Ajan. So let's begin. So quick revision in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we got to know an important rule or a grammar rule that is about what is this and what are these. And we said that with this rule is that when we see this in question, the answer must start with it. When we see this in question, then the answer must start with it. For example, when we say, what is this? Our answer must start with it and say, it's a pointer. It's a pointer. And when we say, for example, what is this? And the answer starts with, it's a screen. It's a screen. So, when we see this in question, we should know that we use it with the answer. And the same goes for the word these. When we see these in question, the answer must start with they. For example, when I point and say, what are these? What are these? Then the answer must start with, they are lights. They are lights. And if I said, what are these? What are these? Now we can say the answer starts with they. They are books. They are books. So with this, we're talking about singular nouns. And with these, we're talking about plural nouns. And what's the difference between singular and plural? We mean by singular, which is one thing or one type. So for example, when we talk about one phone or one book or one light. And if you use plural, what do you mean by plural? When we say that when we have two or three or many books or many lights and so on. So this is what is the difference between singular and plural. So, as we said, we use this, any question like what's this? The answer starts with it. It's a pointer. It's a screen. It's a book. And when we see these, like in the question, what are these? Then the answer must start with they. They are lights. They are books. They are pointers. And so on. So after this, we did play a game that is called the pointing race, where in this game we said that imagine that you and your friends, whether they are your classmates or from your family members or friends of yours, when you gather around and in one room and you have 5 pictures like this. So you're going to tell them that, hey guys, we're going to play the pointing race game. And how would this game goes? Well, we have 2 types of this game. First, or 2 levels. The first level goes with the singular nouns. The singular nouns. As you can see here, here we have only one type of each of these items. We have only one type of each of these items. So you need to ask, first you as a leader, you're going to ask a question. So you're going to point at any one of these. For example, you would say, what is this? Then the other person will point faster than the others and say, it is an MP3 player. It is an MP3 player. So here we have, it is important that when the person wants to answer, he or she must know two things. First, that the answer with singular nouns or with singular question must start with it's, and also he or she must say, what is this exactly? So it is an MP3 player. So the answer must start with it, and also they must say what exactly this thing. So let's practice this question with the other items. So now I'm going to ask a question about one of these items, and what I would like you to know is to point and say the answer immediately. So tell me, what is this? What is this? Now I'm expecting the answer to be it's, to point first and say it's a phone. It's a phone. Now another example. What is this? What is this? Now I'm expecting the answer to be it's a comic book. It's a comic book. Now let's see the other picture. Now what is this? What is this? Now you need to point faster and say it is a wallet. It is a wallet. Now we can say this, we can practice this with different items as long as they are singular. They are only one type. Now the other level of this game or this race, it is called the plural, with the plural nouns. And what did we say? The meaning of plural? Plural, which means when we have more than one type of these items. For example, here we have 3 phones, here we have 2 comic books, and 3 MP3 players, and 2 wallets, and also 4 watches. So we don't have one type, we do have more than one. So this is what do you mean by plural? Plural. So with the plural, we will have different question. We won't say, what is this? We would say, what are these? What are these? Now the answer, as we learn in the grammar toolbox, when we say what are these, the answer must start with they are. They are. So let's practice. So who can tell me what are these? What are these? Now I would like you to point faster and say they are phones. They are phones. Now let's ask another question. What are these? What are these? So I want you to point and say they are MP3 players. They are MP3 players. And don't forget to add the plural S at the end. They are MP3 players. So who can tell me? What are these? What are these? Now I'm expecting you to point faster and say they are watches. They are watches. Now the last example we will have for the pointing race game is this one. Who can tell me? What are these? And what are these? Now you can point at them and say they are comic books and wallets. They are comic books and wallets. So this is how you play this game. As you gather around, as we said, with your friends, and also have pictures like this, whether they are singular pictures like this, only one type, or you have plural where you have more than one type, and ask the players with question like what is this with singular, and also they must know that the answer should start with it's, and name of the thing or the item, and also with the plural, the answer must start with they are, and also to name the item. So this is how you play this game and also how you can have fun with it. So now we have, let's get to know our lesson for today. In today's lesson, we hope that you will be able to differentiate between SP and SW in sentences, and also to read the story A Funny Day. So here I would like you please to open your books on page 16. I would like you please to open your books on page 16. Now, on page 16, the first thing is that we're going to listen, say a number 1 or 2, and then we're going to write the missing letter. So here we have two sounds that starts with S. So let's get to know these sounds, and after this, we can answer a couple of questions about each of these sounds. So the first sound we have that starts with S and P is spider. Spider. Say after me. Spider. Spider. Very good. And the second sound we have that starts with S and W, which is sweater. Sweater. Say after me. Sweater. Sweater. Very good. So here we have two sounds. The first one starts with S and P, and the second one starts with S and W. So now we will have different pictures and 4 different words. And what we're going to say is we're going to decide if this word starts with the first sound. If it does, then we're going to write number 1. Or if it starts with the second sound, and if it does, we're going to write number 2. So let's practice. So the first word we have here is this word. And what do you think? I'm going to say this word and tell me what does it starts with, okay? So let's start. The first word we have here is spring. Spring. And what does the spring start with? It starts with the first sound, which is S and P. It starts with the first sound, which is S and P. Now, let's listen to the second word and decide which sound does it start with. So the second word is sport. Sport. So which sound does the second word start with? With the first one, S and P. S and P, sport. So we have spring and sport. Now let's listen with the third sound, which is already answered, that the third one starts with the sound or the second sound, which is number 2. So here we're going to write S and W for the word swing. Swing. Now, let us move on to the last word we have. Let's listen to it. The last word we have is swan. Swan. So swan, what do you think? Does it start with the first sound or the second one? It starts with the second sound, which is number 2. That starts with S and W, swan. So here we have the 3 words that starts with the first sound. We have spider, we have spring, and we have sport. And also we do have 3 words that start with the second sound, which is S and W, which is sweater, swing, and swan. So now we will move on to the last exercise we have for our lesson, which is an interesting one. Here we're going to read and color all the vowels, which are A, E, I, O, and U. So let's read the story and try to color all the vowels. So the story, it is called A Funny Day. A fat cat sat on a mat. A fat hen sat on a pen. A fat fox sat in a box. And a fat bug sat on a rug. So this is a funny day where we have different words that have the same sound. Like, for example, fat cat sat on a mat, and also fat hen sat on a pen, and fat fox sat in a box, and also fat bug sat on a rug. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to choose a color, any color, and try to find all the vowels we can see. For example, I'm going to color some of them. So for example, here A is one of the vowels. So here what we're going to do, we're going to color letter A. Letter A. So what is the other vowel we can see? So here also we have A. Also, here we can color letter O. We can color letter O like this after we finish all the, after we color all the A letters. And here in the second sentence, we have another vowel, which is the letter E. Letter E. So here we go and color letter E. We go and color letter E. As you can see here, here we color letter E. This will leave us with two vowels, which is I, like this. We color letter I. And also, finally, we color letter U with bug and rug. So here you go. This is how you color these vowels, so you know how you can say them and how you can see them in a sentence and know the vowels. So try to practice this with the rest of the vowels in this chant. So at the end, it is important that you can read this story, A Funny Day, by yourself. So now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.